welcome to the first episode of Screening Screams. Ooh, that's a lot harder to say.
Yeah.
This is going to be kind of a different type of thing that we're going to do once in a while. It's not really going to be scheduled, and it's just going to be us bullshitting about whatever movie we just saw in theaters. Mm-hmm. And this was inspired by us both having recently seen Sinners. So, Jessica, how did you like Sinners?
First off, if you haven't seen Sinners, just go fucking see it. Don't listen to anything. Don't watch anything. Just go see it. If you can avoid a trailer, great. Just go see the goddamn movie.
Yeah, definitely. Pause here. Come back, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. But definitely do not go see what are you doing? Go see the movie right now.
Yeah.
Don't listen to anything else about it. Don't watch any shit about it. It is well worth.
Yeah. We're a little late to the party, but it is still in theaters.
Yeah. So if you're one of those people that hasn't seen it yet, do it. And I would say, if you can, spring for either the 70 millimeter showing or the IMAX showing, because holy shit, is it worth it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I think we've just given away how we feel about it. But Jess, how did you like Sinners?
Yeah, I loved it. I've been telling people, like, all movies are filmed, but this movie's like what cinema is meant to be.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely meant for like a movie going experience. Like
it's a movie for people who appreciate art, I think.
Or just movies in general.
Yeah, and I don't mean that to say it's some artsy fartsy deal, no. Which I love myself a good artsy fartsy deal, but this is just every frame of this movie is gorgeous to look at. Everything you hear is phenomenal. It's art is subjective, and you can't really use words like perfect with art, but this to me was kind of like a perfect movie.
Oh, I don't think it's perfect. It definitely, there's a couple.
Are there a couple flaws?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have what do you?
Well, first off, let's just say, so in case somebody listens to this and decides not to watch the movie or hasn't watched the movie, just like what it's about. So it's about two twin brothers, Smoke and Stack. They're like gangsters. They've come back from Chicago to like their hometown area to open a juke joint. So,
and specifically, this takes place in I think it's the 30s?
I think it's 1932, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah, no, you're right. So it's 1932. They are black twin men.
Yes.
And they've just come back from Chicago, and I believe is it Texas that it takes place in?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I think it maybe Louisiana?
I just knew they came back from Chicago and it's somewhere in the South.
Yeah. You're looking it up, yeah?
Yeah, in Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi.
Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Of course, Mississippi.
And I was right, 1932.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it takes place in 1932. It is about two black twin men, Smoke and Stack, coming back from...
Which is their gangsters' names. It's not their real names, which I'm glad.
I would assume.
No, they say their real names.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do. No,
I only remember Elijah.
The women that they're with say their real names. Yeah, of course.
I just Smoke is Elijah. That's all I know. I forget what the other one is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because they're, for all intents and purposes, they're Smoke and they're Stack, and that's who they really are, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so they have come back from Chicago, where they seem to have been doing some gangster shit.
Yeah, they stole Guinness from the Irish gangsters out there and wine from the Italian gangsters, hoping that they will blame each other and not look for them, and have come back to open a juke joint, which is like a club.
Yeah. And I'm guessing, is it an illegal club? Because I know that they
bought the land.
They
not the land, the building.
They buy the building, but the dude's just gonna come back in the morning and take it back.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly,
Doesn't matter.
I don't know enough about how regular life worked in the Jim Crow South to honestly know. But yeah, basically they're just looking to open up a club where people can go and spend money, dance, listen to some blues, have some good food, have some good drinks.
Yeah.
The place looks like a fucking blast. If I'm being honest, I would love to hang out someplace like that.
But the first half of the movie is them just like gathering people to set up this juke joint, and you get to see a lot. It's because it's a historical piece as well as a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, cause they had a bunch of specialists that like he did this like, kind of like Robert Eggers, where they had a specialist for literally fucking everything. To make sure they did this. I
really like how when we were discussing doing this, we were like, all right, let's not look shit up. We won't get into the story.
No,
we'll just bullshit about it.
You need to give basics. Because I said if somebody's listening. But yeah, it's just like these brothers try to start a juke joint and then vampires show up.
Yeah. And the vampires are led by an Irish vampire who has turned a couple who were part of the clan.
Yeah.
And man, the fucking the chaos ensues.
Yeah.
The structure actually in a weird way reminded me a lot of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the first half, like, if you don't know anything about this movie, the first half, like, is not a horror movie in any such fashion or form.
Yeah.
It's just a period piece, and it's fucking interesting, and you got interesting people. You got Preacher Boy that, like, is the preacher's son, and all he wants to do is play music.
But he's also so amazingly good at music that it basically becomes magic.
Yeah. Which that was one of the things I was like, is that supposed to be literal?
Yes.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, they say it at the beginning of the movie.
Well, not in the beginning. Like
No, there's a voiceover right at the beginning that says there sometimes when something along the lines of sometimes when somebody plays music good enough or with enough heart or whatever, it pierces the veil and transcends time and space.
Because also at one point the vampire guy says, like, I want your power. There's some people I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. His musical talent is literally the MacGuffin.
Yeah. But it's just literally how it acts through in the movie. That was one thing where I'm like, is it supposed to be literal? I couldn't, like, wasn't sure.
So when we start seeing the musicians of different eras, I don't think that's literal. I don't think they actually had, Bootsy Collins walking through there or anything. But I think that the idea is that it has sort of brought all of these people together in this kind of way that they can all feel each other, but they aren't necessarily seeing each other.
Yeah.
But oh god.
So it's like a really cool scene when he's playing music. He's playing his song blues that he wrote.
Yeah, in the juke joint for the audience.
And then it starts playing like hip hop music and like older, like it's all the generations of black music, and you see actual people. And then there's even like, because there's a Chinese couple that helps them, that works the market, and that kind of they can go between the white side and the black side. And they also have like Chinese dancers with them. It's really cool.
It should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. The reason we keep bringing up race is because race is a huge part of this.
Well, yeah, because it's in 1932, so it's like technically there aren't slaves.
In the Jim Crow South, too.
Yeah, so there technically aren't slaves, but there are, I forget what it's called.
Plantations, still.
No, yeah.
They're working.
Yeah, but the people working it have this deal where it's like they're supposed to own part of the plantation, but they don't really. They're kind of still slaves. I forget what it's called. It's literally they say what they are.
It's not indentured servitude.
No.
Something else.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But it's like, so, there's a lot of racism going on because there's still a lot of shit.
Right.
But I did really appreciate that this movie takes place in this time period in Jim Crow South, but it's not actually about racism.
No, I mean, it plays well, okay. I do have a... It isn't specifically about racism, but racism is a major part of everything. Sure. And I do think that it actually played into So I have this theory, right? And you can tell me I'm full of shit. Well, no, I know you'll tell me I'm full of shit if you think I am. So I couldn't help but notice that the main vampire is Irish. And to me, the thing that I was thinking about was Irish vampire attacking black folk in Jim Crow South. As an Irish American, and I'm sure you have seen this a million times, there are so many of, quote, our people who will say dumb shit in a modern day and be like, I understand racism. My family's Irish. We were treated like shit when we came to America. We had to work the railroads and die in mines and coffin ships and blah, 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 blah. And it's like this leeching. It's like this sort of leeching off of Black history in this way and being like, no, we get it. And we don't. Yeah. We absolutely don't. So there was a part of me that was like, I wonder if that was deliberate, making him an Irish vampire, like, well, he is sucking the life out of black folk.
He is deliberately Irish, but I know that Coogler says that Irish people do like have a similar history. It's not exactly the same or as intense, but he thinks that they do have a similar history. And also because during this time period, Irish people wouldn't have been considered white. Sure. So he even talks about how the first interracial couples were usually Irish and black people.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not saying that we did have it easy. Like, we didn't. It was shit for Irish people when they came here. I just couldn't help but think about the way that, like, a lot of Irish Americans will try to excuse their own bad behaviors or just be like, I ain't one of these like other white people. And there's honestly times that I feel that way a lot of the time, like, because I always think of like business assholes and white trash when I think about that. Yeah, the only thing I like being Irish American.
The only thing for me is I'm like, oh, my family didn't have slaves. I don't have to worry. I'm like, that's not my family. We don't have any history of that.
I can definitely say that, thankfully.
I even had somebody at my work who's back who goes, how can you say that? And I'm like, my family didn't come here until like the 50s.
No,
we're Irish. And he even was like, oh, man, okay.
Yeah. No, but, I do like being able to say that because I know enough of my family's history to be able to say that, because I know that we came over in coffin ships and worked in the mines in Yonkers, New York. So we were part of the group that mined the cobblestones for the streets of New York City. So
interesting.
Yeah, I've like an old diary from one of or an old journal from one of I think one of the first of our family that came here, and he, I believe, was a logger. Yeah. And my mom's side of the family in particular was always so proudly Irish American that like we carried all those stories and all that. So, but that doesn't mean that I know what it's like to be black. I fucking don't.
No. I'm like, my grandfather was, I believe, considered a terrorist.
Is this something that you want to say on the air here, Jess? You want to keep that in there? Descendant of terrorist. What was his first name? Do you know?
I don't remember.
I'm probably going to cut this out. I don't know if that could get you in trouble somehow.
No.
I mean, it
he's
could.
Dead.
Well, no. I mean, it couldn't get you in trouble with like the law, but you know. You don't want to have somebody like come in to get vengeance for their family on you.
No, it's nothing like that. It was against the British.
Oh, that's fine. Fuck them limey Brits.
Yeah, he was on a blacklist, like, to be murdered. That's why we came here.
Yeah. Well, glad you did. Boy, this has gone way off the rails.
Yeah. Anyways, back to you found out.
Yeah, I know. I mean, well, no, I mean, I did think that was an interesting thing.
It's intentional, but I don't know if it's because he thinks Irish people leech off of black people's culture. Well,
I think more in terms of modern Irish Americans, not Irish people, and not back then.
I don't know. There's a lot. He's out there talking about the movie, so
yeah.
But. Anyways, music is a really big thing in this movie, and it's really cool. Everyone in the movie that you see performing in the movie is the one that actually performs performs the instruments and sings on the soundtrack, which I think makes it a little bit cooler. Not all of them were like singers already.
No, they all do a fine job.
Yeah, the Irish guy, when he was a kid, was a professional or was a competitive Irish dancer, and he hadn't done it in 20 years.
Now, would you consider this to be a musical?
Okay, so I looked it up because I was wondering, and I'm going to say no. Okay. And the reason is I think musicals literally you have to be singing like what's going on. You have to have a thing breaking out when you're just like, I'm going to the market, like something like that.
So then would Moulin Rouge not be a musical? Because by that definition, you've never seen Moulin Rouge?
No.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Shit, we got to watch that, man. So Moulin Rouge is undoubtedly a musical, but it uses pop songs in very much the same way that this one does, but it's like to an extreme degree. They're constantly singing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're not constantly singing here. Anytime there's music going on here, it's because they're performing a song. It's not them just like singing.
That is true. But
I would say no.
The music, because of the mystical qualities of it,
I still say no.
Okay.
The internet agreed with me. But
I'm not making an argument either way. I'm just trying to draw your thoughts here. I
thought about it, and I was like, because I'm like, is this a musical? No, music is just integral to the story, but no, I wouldn't say so.
The music is really amazing. And before I saw this movie, so you saw it before I did, and you messaged me specifically to be like, I think you'll really love the way that music is used in this. It basically is a witchcraft of sorts.
Sure. Yeah.
And like I absolutely, there's two really big scenes for the music as a power, in my opinion. One is the obvious one. I Lied to You, the song I Lied to You, which is the one you were talking about a minute ago, where, we start seeing like funk musicians and DJs and dancers twerking, and then
there's like African dancers, like tribal dancers, and
just
it's
like
really fucking cool.
From history to modern day, we see representatives of what we would consider black music in this one scene.
But then next to the Chinese people, they have the Chinese dancers.
Right. So the other scene, and I fucking love this with all of my heart. I swear to God, I don't even know how to say how I was reacting in the theater. The main villain using the Rocky Road to Dublin to assemble his like vampire clan. Holy shit. I almost lost my fucking mind because I absolutely adore that song, which honestly, I'm probably going to replace. I think I have two versions of that song on my St. Patrick's Day playlist. I have a punk version and like a traditional version. I will probably replace one of them, I don't know which, with this version because I really love the performance.
Super good.
It's super good. But yeah, I just loved
It's cool when they're dancing around too, because you can see all like the characters we got to know like acting like completely different, and they got these like crazed like happy faces on.
Yeah,
like it's so cool.
Yeah, it's great. The story is also absolutely fantastic. I legitimately forgot that it was a horror movie for a good long while until the vampire showed up again. And that makes, there's not very many movies in the world that I would call scary at all. Probably just because I've watched way too many horror movies.
Sure.
But there is something about a movie that makes you forget that it's a horror, and then suddenly the horror elements kick in that does actually make it kind of scary for a minute. Or at least really makes it feel tense.
Right.
Because you're like, oh, right. Oh, they're all going to die. But the story is so engrossing.
Yeah.
And the acting is so well done. And because it's not just about them putting together this business, which of course, can't always make for a decent story in itself, but it's all of these relationships that they have left and come back to.
Yeah.
One of the twins is coming back to the wife that he hasn't seen in, I think, years.
Yeah.
The other one is reconnecting with a jilted lover, basically.
Yeah.
And
so the whole thing too with her, with Stack's lover, it's fucked up because it's like her mother raised them when their mother died.
Right.
And yeah, so then they got together, but she's passing white. So as she's been gone, she's married a white guy, but she is a quarter black, or no, an eighth. Yeah, black. And the actress is in real life.
So she does, right. And that does, like, it doesn't play super heavily into the main plot of the film, but it.
Well, when they're first talking, they don't look at each other because they're trying to not to make it obvious that they're talking to each other. So they're talking to each other from the side, facing different ways, right? Because they're in public.
I think it plays more into their dynamic with each other than it does into the bigger story.
He's literally like, "You can get me shot."
Yeah.
No, that's why I'm saying this movie isn't about racism. Racism is just because of the time period happening around it, which I really appreciate, because I just feel like a lot of Black movies, especially period pieces, are all just like, we used to be slaves, and I'm like, they have more nuanced stories than that. Like, there's not to say more interesting, that's not correct, but there's other stories to be told. Like, they were people beyond that.
This is gonna be the clip that goes around on TikTok and gets us canceled.
No, but I'm just saying they were people beyond just racism. So like, they have stories to be told.
I know. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, no, there is. I feel like this movie made a deliberate attempt to explore something in Jesus. How can I fucking word this? And it's basically just reiterating what you're saying, but I think that this movie made a deliberate attempt to explore a story that can't escape racism but isn't about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good shit.
But no, it's really good. So my one complaint about it is I think the ends doesn't flow well. They're like, they end the vampire stuff, and then they're like, well, we got to take care of the racists, so then they have a shootout with them, which is great, but then it's like, okay, well, now we gotta have the future where we see what happens to Preacher Boy, and it just feels like the movie's flowing so well nicely, and then it just feels like gotta wrap up these story things. So I don't think they did a good job.
Funny enough, I think that they could have. So I actually really like the ending where they come to the future.
I do too. I just don't think it just doesn't flow well. It just everything just cuts so hard.
I think it could have possibly done without the scene where was it Smoke that lives?
Yeah. No, Stack.
I do think we could have possibly done with a shorter version of the scene where Stack takes out the clan. Or maybe no.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. That is Smoke.
Sorry. Smoke.
Yeah, because Stack lives, but he's a vampire.
Okay. My mom is a twin, so you think I'd be better about this? I'm not.
They're also fictional, like,
they are fictional characters played by one actor, so that is... Throughout most of the thing, we have hats to differentiate them.
This is the thing, too. What was the fucking plan of the clan to come at during the day again? It was like, if anything, they would come at night to kill all the people who showed up. But instead, they show up the next afternoon. I'm like, so what? That doesn't make sense.
It wasn't... The idea was not to kill all of the Black people who show up to party. The idea was to just kill Smoke and Stack.
They said to kill any leftovers, but they came so late the next day. It's like full sun out.
That's true.
Because then also, why not do it when they're setting up? I'm just saying their timing doesn't make any sense.
It does make sense because after the event, Smoke and Stack have all the money that they've taken in from throwing the event. If you do it during setup, they don't have any money. Yeah, but the whole idea is to let them like have their event And then the next day, when they're cleaning up, when whoever is like still was too drunk to leave or whatever is still there,
was too late.
They can kill all of them, take that money, and take the land back.
It still should have been either in the morning or way later at night. Because why would they be there in the afternoon? They don't live there.
Wasn't it the morning still?
Dude, it was full sun.
Well, sure, but I mean, this is like summertime in the South. 8 in the morning, it's full sun.
I think the ending's sloppy.
Yeah,
it doesn't flow well.
I agree that it doesn't flow well. I think that they could have done that part better. I actually would have liked to see. I would have liked to see them see like the vampires end up taking out the whole clan, or turning all of them into vampires. Sure. And that would have.
Or they could have shown up and for a moment united together to kill the clans people or something.
I mean, there were already, 2 of the 3 vampires were already clans people anyway.
Which, since you mentioned that, I didn't know that "Pick Poor Robin Clean" was like a song, and I thought they were just like referencing being vampires.
I think that's why they chose that song. Yeah, but no, it is an old. No, I know, an old traditional song. I don't know if it is started as a blues song or started elsewhere.
No, it's a folk song.
Yeah. Okay. Where did it come from?
I don't know, but you can listen to the original on Spotify.
No, I know. It's part of the playlist that the movie put out.
Have you seen the Easter egg on the playlist? So if you go to Sinner's soundtrack, go all the way down to the bottom, where they have like the descriptions of an artist, there'll be some like drawings of stuff that happens in the movie. Flip all the way to the end of that, and there's newspaper articles about like a ghost ship coming from Ireland and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Gives you backstory of the vampire a little bit, because it's assumed based on
he pulled the last forge of the Demeter, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes. And there's like 3 newspaper articles in there about that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's only on Spotify.
I'll have to take a look at that. No, that's great.
Yeah, I love that. Because from the information you can gather from the movie and from the articles, it seems like he's been alive since he wasn't around during the pagan days, but he was around, probably a child born around the time when,
right after the Druids died out.
Yeah.
That would make sense. I wonder if those articles will show up in the vinyl for the soundtrack.
I don't know. That would make sense.
Yeah, I'm so fucking annoyed. The vinyl soundtrack sold out so fast.
Dude, the soundtracks is so good.
The soundtrack is so good.
Wait, are you getting the score or the soundtrack? Because there's 2 different ones.
Yes. Absolutely. They're both phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, of course. So the film score is absolutely phenomenal, and I am a big film score guy.
Yep.
I have probably a dozen or so film scores on vinyl already, probably more actually. And I definitely had a lot of film scores on CD back in those days when I used CDs. So I definitely want that, but then I absolutely want the regular soundtrack.
The soundtrack's so good.
The soundtrack is fucking killer. Everybody performs excellently on it.
Lars
is on there,
and the guy that's the leftover Alice in Chains guy. I forget his name.
Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah.
Jerry Cantrell performs guitar, and I think 1 song or 2 songs.
I think they're I don't know.
And Lars shows up on at least 1 track.
Yep.
And it makes sense when you. It's interesting because when you know that they're there, you can hear it suddenly. Like you are like, oh, that is kind of Lars's style of playing drums at that pace.
Yeah.
Oh, that is very much a Jerry Cantrell guitar riff.
Well, it's funny because the guy who did the soundtrack is just some Swedish dude.
I know.
But he does all the big soundtracks now. If it's either Trent Reznor or the Swedish dude.
It was so fucking funny because when I was watching the movie, I was like, man, they must have got all these blues session players to do this.
Yeah.
There's probably some really big names that were around in the 60s or whatever. And then I start looking at the music credits, and I'm just like Gustav something.
I think I thought it started with an O, but either way, yeah. It's like, oh.
Like, what?
I'm looking up his name now.
But I'm pretty sure Ryan Coogler has worked with him before.
Yeah, yes. And he just did Oppenheimer.
That movie was fine.
I didn't see it.
It was all right.
I plan on seeing it. We just haven't gotten around to it.
It's a good movie, but
it's so long.
It is. I mean, that doesn't bother me too much, but
Ludwig Jorgensen.
Ludwig Jorgensen.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oppenheimer is good. It's just Katie and I did the whole Barbie and Oppenheimer thing, and between the two, Barbie was so much more fun.
Well, of course. It was about the atomic bomb.
Yeah, Oppenheimer was a drag, man.
Jesus Christ. But this movie's awesome. You should check it out.
Yeah. This movie's great.
I know I keep saying it, but I'm like, it's cinema. It's like what movies like, because back in the day, because it was like a new thing, and like you could only see it in theaters. Like movies were like a spectacle, like to see. And I feel like this really holds true to like that idea.
Yeah. Everything is incredibly well done, from the writing, from like the dialogue, to the music, to the blocking.
All the characters are great.
Everything is a masterpiece. I definitely want to see it in theater again. I want to go see it in IMAX.
There's a really strong theme of women's pleasure.
There is. There is.
Lots of conversations about eating women out. Yep. How they like to be licked.
Yep. Gotta find that button.
No, but the women are all the ones that are like more sexually like dominant in this. Like one of the main sex scenes is like you see her like putting her hand on a crotch, and it's just like focused in. It's very much the women being the ones to push sex, which it's not common. But yeah, it wasn't until like talking about this movie afterwards that I was like, this is a very horny movie.
It's an incredibly horny movie. Everyone was trying to get laid.
There's a scene which I think the way they do it is
or
great.
Getting laid.
Yeah, but there's like a girl who's been the love interest of Stack's already turned into a vampire, and they're like getting it on, and he's like, "Are you drooling?" Because she's drooling because she's about to eat him. And then she's like spits in his mouth. Apparently that really disturbed a lot of people.
Really?
It wasn't aggressive. Like
I thought it was super hot.
I'm not into spitting,
I don't know. I'm not going to say that I'm into spitting in particular, but there's there's some things that when women are aggressive enough that like that gets fucking hot. I also do not necessarily desire to be stepped on, but you pull out a 9-foot vampire woman and it's like, all right, I'll just lay my face down here. Or fucking.
I just also think it's clever because it was that she's trying to hide that she's a vampire. Are you drooling? Oh.
No, she spit when she spit in his mouth. I totally looked over and gave Katie that look, and she just rolled her eyes at me.
No. Yeah.
No, she didn't say no. She just rolled her eyes of course, this is where your mind is going.
But all the characters are great in this, too.
All the characters are great. Oh, God. Who was it that they got to play Preacher Boy at the end?
Guy Buddy.
Okay, right. Yeah, it was great seeing him in there. Mm-hmm. Not the best actor in the world, but it's fine. But it's fucking awesome hearing him play.
Dude, it's also awesome seeing them come in and like early 90s hip hop stuff. It was like Stack shows up.
Yeah, in his Will Smith sweater.
Oh yeah, and he also has one of those rings that goes across like all the 4 knuckles that says Stack.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I actually always really liked that style. So
it's funny.
So, but
yeah,
it's a good time.
Anyway, it's a great movie.
Great movie. Highly recommended. All right. And we'll see you for the next one, which will be very soon.
Yeah.